looking for news headlines for the show tonight. And I go to the CBC, the Canadian ones. I go through the Canadian ones to see if I can find something that's not so propagandized. I go to CBC, and the first thing I see, kaboom. This is the main story up top. This is what they're showing me from the top, okay? This is what they're showing me. How chimpanzee tool use provides insight into early human behavior. Chimps apply engineering skills to select tools with the right characteristic for hunting termites. So this is what Canadian news, first thing I see, you don't talk about election corruption, you talk about Canada being taken over, that the housing crisis, food prices. This is the number one story. When I went to the CBC this morning, was the number one head story. Yes, how chimps apply engineering skills. Yeah. So, anyways, let's move on to some real news here. Okay, let's go into, this is kind of important if you're living in Canada, pay close attention. Canadian loonie regained value lost to US dollars since tariff threats, says Bank of Montreal. The great Canadian peso is coming, folks. We're going to be at a 60-cent dollar. I predicted the 60-cent dollar 2 weeks ago. We're going to a 60-cent dollar, and brace yourselves because it's going to get ugly. And the 905 could determine whether candidates see a majority or a minority government. Here is why. So there's whole voting. The 905 has been, so they're going to find a way to justify how Mark Carney will win. How Mark Carney, it goes on to say something here. The support between region historically shifts between Liberal and Conservative, with the NDP typically performing poorly in the GTA outside of downtown Toronto. But in recent years, the support appeared to be swaying back to the Conservatives. So they're going to find reasons how and why Carney's going to win this election. It's a selection, right? Remember, folks? A lot of people are calling me anti-Canadian. I'm like, no. I have a 2016 video that we made about how Carney sold off all of Canada's gold from trends in the housing market. Someone brought it to my attention. Hey, Mike, you were talking about this Carney. I know I've been talking about Carney for a while because he facilitated the Chinese money laundering into the Canadian real estate. That's old news. No, Mike, you actually talked about how he sold off all of Canada's gold in one of your episodes. I did? Yeah, in 2016. So, Buddy sent me the link. I'm going through it. It's a 2-hour show, so I'm going to go through it again better. I'm going to clip out the segment for you guys and show you guys how we were already warning you about this guy years ago. But the media is going to kind of massage it in a way to say, well, he got all the support. Well, he got all everything. Look at all the it's all BL, it's all garbage. It's all lies, right? And there's no one coming to save you, Canada. Polyevan coming to save you. Nobody's coming to save you. Canada is saying its real estate bubble is a bubble by creating a rental bubble. So Canada is saving its real estate bubble by creating a rental bubble? I have to say it 3 times because I'm not sure what I'm reading here. So, what? So they're going to, yeah, so Canadian rental prices resume climbing, affordable options narrow. Again, because no one can get into the real estate market, it's too expensive. So what they're going to do is they're going to jack up the rental prices to make it harder on Canadians. I remember reporting on bidding wars, rental bidding wars, where if you bid the most, you get the property. We were reporting rental bidding wars in 2014. Now, I'm not going to go into specifics, but Canada's big cities see rent stagnate, small cities surge, and close gap. So Toronto's average asking rent fell to $2,590 in March, down 6.9% compared to last year. That marks 32-month low for prices after 14 consecutive months of declines. Vancouver did slightly worse than Toronto. Despite home sales being generally more resilient, rents came in at $2,822 in March, down 5.7% from last year. It was the 16th month of price declines and marked a 35-month low. So Montreal fell to $1,968 in March, down 4% from last year. So, yeah, rents are going to start to come into line with wages because people just can't afford to live. It's getting out of control. And Polyev vows not to pass abortion restrictions if elected prime minister. So I thought he was conservative. So much for being pro-life. But women, if you're dating a man that can't afford to buy a condom, please stop using abortion as a contraceptive, please. That's all I have to say. I mean, I don't know what to say to that anymore, but a conservative government would not pass any laws to restrict access to abortion. And conservative leader Pierre Poilievre said Friday during his campaign stop in southern Ontario. And he said, in quotations, there will be no laws or other restrictions imposing on women's right to decide to do with their body as she wishes. Again, women, if your boyfriend can't afford a condom, maybe you need to find someone else that's more, stop using abortion as a contraceptive. This is God's gift to us. Birth is God's gift to us. Okay, conception is God's gift to us. Stop destroying it, okay? So, there he is, Polyev. No one's coming to save you. And Carney says he supports women's rights to choose abortion. Of course they do. They're going to tell you everything you need to know. And Canadian renters abandon plans to buy real estate this year. Again, Canadian proper. If you're educated in Canada, you're educated. You went to school here. You graduated. You're married. You've been living Canada 2-3 generations. You speak the language. You speak English. Everything. You can't get into your own real estate. I was already seeing in Vancouver in 2012. I'm like, whoa, that went up that much. Whoa, this is not right. Chinese money laundering. It's the best thing that ever happened to Canada. Destroyed affordability right across the board. Now you can't afford to buy food. But we warned you. Videos are up. Go watch them. Hundreds of videos. Thousands of videos are up. And 1 in 5 Canadians fear losing their job within 12 months. Of course they are, because the private sector is getting destroyed. And the 1 in 5 Canadians that fear losing their job, guess what? Are all private sector mom and pops businesses that are being taxed to death and fleeced by the Canadian government. But, government workers, don't you worry. You vote for Carney, you'll keep your government jobs. Just like we asked Pierre Poilievre 4 years ago. What are you going to do about the growing massive public sector? What are you going to do about that? He can't. He can't touch it. What are you going to do about the money laundering? Can't touch it. None of these guys could touch a damn thing. They're not allowed to. Because the leaders above them will get pretty upset. So Canadians are increasingly divided on where the country's economy is heading in a year. Bank of Canada released the results of Q1 2025 Consumer Outlook survey showing a record share of households fear losing their job. Over 1 in 5 consumers believe they will lose their job in the next 12 months. So there's the graph right there. So, that's pretty high. And in the next 12 months, it's going to hurt, guys. It's going to hurt to be in Canada. And it's going to get a lot harder to be in Canada. And America is closing its borders nice and sealed to make sure a lot of the problems that we brought into this country stay in this country, in Canada, for the Canadians to figure it out. To let the Canadians figure out. Because I don't know a single... I asked about 30, 40 people this week. Did you vote to bring in all these people? Did you vote? I asked them a series of questions in person. Nobody voted for a damn thing. They never asked for any of this. And again, it's all a selection. And that's why they'll maintain. They'll maintain the people in power, and they have to. Because they were put in power for a reason. To answer to the higher-ups, right?